Oh, look at that. Got it. All right. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Everybody got the minutes from the last meeting?
I did. I motion to accept them as published.
All right.
A
we got
second.
motion and second to accept the minutes of the last meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
So it was
All opposed.
Rick, it was Steve, and then Pam.
Yep.
Just forgot I had the note taker. There we go. Okay, good.
Mhm. Awesome. And oh, let me get back on here. We were getting
I had the correspondence, that letter from the Mass Historical Commission.
yeah, why don't you do that? And then,
Yeah. I mean, it's basically a grant cycle that they have for a variety of grants. And a lot of it is that we're just not ready. We're not there yet. Maybe next year we might be in a position to apply, but they're local. So the grants are community-wide or targeted inventories of historic, architect, landscape, or archaeological resources, or preliminary survey projects to plan for such inventories. The current state historic preservation plan includes updating community-wide images. So that inventory that we have, that I think it's that MHE, that whatever that, what is that, the MACRIS thing that we have, I think it's updating that MACRIS database, which is something we definitely should do. I don't think we have the bandwidth to do that right now unless someone else wants to take it on. But it's applying for a grant to do it. So I don't know. And so somebody has to do the grant application as well as, and I'm pretty good at grant applications. I just don't have the time to do this year. I really don't. I'm more than willing to look at it next year. And I think we might be in a better position when the museum's open and we're operating and things are a little
You know what,
more-
Bernadette, I could give you more time next year too.
Okay.
So that
Okay.
probably would be a good idea.
And I think, Steve, you're probably interested in this, getting those things recorded too.
Yeah, I noticed that one of the grant application possibilities was for preservation.
Right,
of,
yep.
not necessarily of places, but of artifacts. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that can be applied.
Yeah.
I'm new to that. I don't know what that means. Does that mean? And I saw that it was like a 50% match in most cases.
Right. So like thinking of if it's an artifact, so that fire truck that we have sitting in storage, if it
Right.
costs 20,000 to renovate that, if they can get 50% of it funded, and then we do fundraising for the rest of it, that's the kind of thing. But I think we really need more attention to this that I think that any of us have the time to do right. And I think usually with these things, they have webinars where you go to them to learn about the grant process so you know what you're applying for. And if that came out, I didn't even see it or pay any attention to it, which I think I can have more time as things level out. So by November 15th, you have to get a pre-application to them saying you're interested. That's not the grant application. That's just saying, yes, we're considering doing this.
Do you know when the application is due?
Complete the pre-enclosed application. The pre-application isn't, okay, so the pre-application, it doesn't say right there. Application funding. February 7th.
Yeah, probably better for next year.
Yeah.
Like if it was going to be June of next year or something.
Yeah, it's February 7th. So the pre-application is pretty simple. Title, who's applying, the amount of money you're requesting, how you're going to fund the rest of it. And that the other thing is, if we're going to fund the rest of it we could actually maybe even go to the town to get something funded. If it's something that we could ask for our budget request to have $5,000 for, some kind of a funding. So we don't have to worry about local funding, have the local match set up ahead of time before we even apply. Because that's so yeah, they want to know where the money's coming from for the match, and that we don't have time to pull that together at all. But I think the fire truck might be, Rick, do you have any idea how much the cost will be to renovate that?
I think you're pretty close on
Like
that.
10?
15 to
Okay.
20. It all
Okay.
depends, on the getting the pots. I've got people that say they got all the pots that we need and this and that. So I can't see it costing much more than that, to renovate it, but we really haven't gone in depth with it. But I know at least it's heated, and it's
Right. It's not deteriorating anymore.
It's
It
not
might be
deteriorating.
it might really be a good thing to try to get a written estimate of the restoration costs, because then we'd have something concrete to move forward with, if for this grant or any other grants that might come our way. Because it's a matter of just finding the money. There's money out there for all kinds of things,
Yeah.
So
I'll
that-
take some of that.
Yeah, that would be a nice thing to get done, not just because I'm on a fire department. It's just that it's the first fire truck that Bellingham's ever
Right,
owned.
yeah.
And we have it, so we
Right.
have a chance to keep it
I
in
mean,
our
Right.
possession, more or less, you know?
And I guess the long-term thing is we get it restored. Where does it get stored after it's restored?
That's what I was just
You know?
gonna ask.
Yeah.
Once they tear down Domino's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to ask Dennis to build us a garage
Yeah.
and a nice little warehouse that's temperature treated, so
Yeah.
so that we can put our artifacts in there where they just won't rot, because they won't have
I mean, I think
in the weather.
realistically, when we go through this whole collection and we see what really we think is worth keeping, and if it doesn't fit in that building, which I don't think it's going to, we have to make our argument why there needs to be some other,
It has to be climate controlled too,
right,
because
yeah, right,
everything's gonna
Yeah.
deteriorate
Right.
to where it's not even useful.
Right.
So like I say,
I mean, and I guess there's
if
some,
we
yeah,
can get,
the truck itself has to be in a garage that's not
yeah,
at least minimally heated, it's gonna be,
yeah,
right. So, but I think we just put that aside. I'll keep an eye for, I think I'll do is I'll put it on my calendar for next fall to keep an eye out for it, so maybe we can start talking about it in August or September. So we are more on board when this comes in the mail. This is dated September 27th. So when this comes in late September, we're kind of ready to know where we're gonna be with it.
Wait, if you have to go to the town for money, you'd want to do it in time to get on the fall town meeting warrant?
That's true.
So
Yeah.
you'd have to do it before
Or-
September.
Right, you're right. Or I could just get Dennis to say we can do it in the spring, if you get the grant.
Yeah,
Put it on the following year's town meeting warrant. That's probably a better way to go about it, is just get them on board that if we're awarded the grant, they're willing to fund it.
Mm.
Okay,
all right. Why don't we do that renovation update? It's, well, we kind of, I spoke with Dennis, by the way, this week, because I got a call from Victory. And a nice mini split that's been installed, they want to close out their open ticket on that. So I asked Dennis if he could reach out to Gary and to have him put us on his schedule as soon as possible to at least get that wired up so they can come and they can do the purging and set it all up and get it ready to go so they can close the ticket, on it.
Don't let them close it until the startup is done, because
Yeah,
I've been in construction long enough to know that it's, you know what I mean?
Right.
There could be a lot wrong with it that we haven't seen.
yeah,
and technically, if it's, well, we can test the heating part of it, I guess, because it is both heat and air conditioning, so we can test. I mean, not that you can't turn the air conditioning on, but we're not gonna really know till next summer how well it air conditions the building, I don't think, until it gets hot again.
right. I'll
Yeah.
make that a definite note
Yeah.
with Don Fleck, the guy that, the final sign off really can't be on this
Yeah, because
until we fire up for the summer.
Because I don't think we can turn the heat part on, we can turn the dehumidifier part on.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I mean, I think long-term, I don't think those are on routinely. Those are on, if it gets cold in the building and the heat isn't keeping up, the person who's there could turn it on, as Mike is, but I've never been cold in there.
Mhm.
The building is
No.
not chill, the building is not chilly, so, so I don't know how, the point of them really was for air conditioning, which we're beyond
Yeah.
that season now. As of today, we're beyond the air conditioning season. It
Yeah.
was chilly this morning.
It's gonna be even chillier tomorrow morning
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
But as far as that on the renovations,
Yeah.
I'm just getting back. I was at the museum today for about an hour, looking around, checking things out. I'm just getting my feet wet again in there because I've been going so long. Sitting on the sidelines, but now I'm back and I'm gonna Bernadette, we can get down there and let me know what's going on and what needs to be done. And I got more time during the day, so I can go down and start doing some stuff and get us, help get the museum at a point where we can open it whenever. There's no pressure.
It's not gonna happen in November. Our deadline is, it's just not. There's just so much stuff to still figure out.
Yeah.
I think Steve and I have done a good job starting to pull things out and kind of have a plan.
Mhm.
But there's
Yeah.
there's so much stuff. There's just, and I think we need to figure out where we're gonna box it, where we're gonna store it in the meantime. Like, I think that, did Dennis Tiff give you anything about the Domino's building coming down timeline?
No, he
No.
said it wouldn't be, he said it was the company that was putting the condos in behind the town hall that was going to take down Domino's as part of the deal.
Oh,
So,
okay,
Domino's has got nothing to do with the road widening.
okay, good. So we got at least months, if not years for that.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
that's good.
that's,
Yeah,
we got some time there,
okay.
you know, but,
I-
and I did, oh, you did, the other one, we talked the other day, Bernadette and I talked the other day about getting the steps in front of the museum removed, the lower ones that are all hacked up, the concrete ones, and having a ramp or having it done. And hopefully they can do that before the snow flies, at least make it easier to walk to the steps.
Because there's a bunch, the main steps are granite, those are still in good condition. And there is a, what do you call it? Railing on those, but the lower steps, there's no railing on. So technically they probably aren't code at all. And they're just concrete that is crumbling. So if we can make it ramp up, it would be a better thing. And just with asphalt, just tar asphalt to make it to meet the step, because it's basically concrete, tar, then the granite, so we can get rid of the whole part of the concrete.
Let the highway DPW guy
Yeah.
figure that out. Just that those steps are too dangerous, those other ones, and if we can get it done, that'd be good. All right, I don't think the service probably isn't gonna get done because until the spring, but that's okay. Changing the service, it's not a big deal, but he got the okay to do it. So Gary will get to it when he can, but I asked him to speed up on the AC unit. So we'll see. Is there anything else on the renovations?
Just that Steve and I have been over there kind of going through things, trying to find the things that, I think there was 40 something items that Steve identified as things that really need to be on display. And we're basically trying to find them. It's kind of like a treasure hunt. So we're trying to find those items and then, bring those up, and then we can figure out how best to display those items, and then what else to add to them to fill the space. I think the next thing for Rick and I, we talked about was going over there and just getting the furniture in the spots we want the furniture, so that we can, moving the things around. I want to see if the sleigh is going to fit back in the building, in the area that I want to put it. Because I had the idea to put the sleigh in the area where we're doing like farming and home and whatever, and we could use that sleigh to display things on. But I got to make sure it's going to fit in that left corner, because it's really, really big. I mean, it was right in the door when you walked in before. It was, and it's kind of too big for that, I think. It's not that, I think it belongs more with the farming equipment and that part of the history of Bellingham. So hopefully it's going to fit in that corner and we can use it for display. So that's our next thing, Rick. When you and I are over there next time, I want to measure that and see if we can get that. And then if we can get it, get the parks guys to get it out of there and bring it over to us after we move a few other things around where we want them to be. Like that, we get that washing machine. I think that should just go into Domino's. I don't know if we're going to keep, do we want to keep the pink washing machine from the 50s that it's a Ringer washing machine that I can't find any reason why we have it. It's like
it might be interesting in its own right, but I don't see it fitting. What's the connection to Bellingham?
Yeah, and
was it manufactured here? That would be interesting, but
was it used in one of the older homes? But it's like a 40s or a 50s Ringer washing machine. I mean, my great aunt had one of them, but it's bright pink. It's like the weirdest color that I've ever But there's those, and if we can get those bigger things out of the way, then it'll make space for the things that, it's like a baby crib, I don't know what the crib is for, it's like a.
It seemed to me that we were finding probably, more than 50% of the things that I laid hands on, we found no apparent connection to Bellingham. They were just merely old.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was, I guess it's at one time, from what I was told, that there was stuff being donated that people bought at yard sales, and we don't even know where they got them.
Yeah. There's
'Cause it was
definitely, there are
all-
things that say Ernie Taft bought, one of them bought at a yard sale in Shrewsbury. I mean, it actually said it on one item. I forget what it was, but that's no tie to Bellingham. It might have been, and I think it was a shovel or a pitchfork or something like, and it said like the kinds people used on farms in Bellingham. It's like, well, that's not, that's
Yeah.
not real. That's not really that relevant. So isolating that stuff and getting it, at least boxed up and then determining what we can do with it in the long run. Because there's something like there was a box of books that belonged to some family, and I forget which family it was, but it was a famous Bellingham name. And they have nothing to do with Bellingham, but there are books in there that are worth money. That like one of them, there's a copy of Little Black Sambo that I looked online, it's worth $100. So there are just things that are worth money, but not to us. So how can we monetize those to help the museum do other things? That's my question. And I have to talk, Dennis told me to talk to Mary more about that, because we were talking about doing a yard sale with suggested donation prices on things. But if we have a lot of stuff, is it better to just, because I know there are towns that auction things. Is it better to hire an auction company and give, pay whatever their fee is and get the most we can if this stuff is good? I don't know if it's that good or not. We have a whole collection of cameras that there's some Brownie cameras that they're whole
Yeah,
bunch
some of that
all-
stuff will fetch a good price. I mean, I saw some stuff in there that was worth some serious dough, but
Yeah,
I don't see the connection to Bellingham, or if I do, I mean, I suppose that's a thin connection. Ernie Taft
Right.
bought it, probably thinking it would be part of a display
right.
of some sort. And that may be the case, but unless we're going to repeat that display or work that out, it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. Like I could see, having a filler, like say we have some display and was set, oh, it's similar. We didn't have one in Bellingham, but
Right.
like say a uniform component, like we want to have a complete World War I uniform and we're missing a belt or something. We might get that, and
Right. Yeah. So I think at this point, our best bet we have, is just to box the stuff up that we don't know what to do with and worry about it at some point. Get things on display that we want, but bigger things, if we could get rid of them, would make a lot of sense, I think, because then they're just taking up a lot of space.
I'll tell you, a museum in itself was Crooks's Farm I don't know how much stuff they got rid of at their sale, but when I walked through there, they had old stuff in the barns and stuff.
Yeah.
But we have no place to put
Right,
anything,
Yeah.
but they had quite a bit there, but
I think if we have the space we have to be very selective about what we keep. That's, that's being realistic. And that's why, a little later, we're going to talk about the collection policy that I drafted. And I think that's the donation policy, which I think is important, that we have to really figure out why we're accepting something, that there's a good reason. If someone says, I have this World War I uniform and it's identical to one we already have, unless the person has some major contribution to Bellingham, I think the answer is sorry, we already have one of those, So, and getting as much information from the person as to why they think it's, because, just accepting it and sticking it in a closet is not doing the donor any favor really either, the policy basically says we don't guarantee we're going to display anything. So we know there's no guarantee of that, but is it really relevant is the real question. So, and that is just a lot to go through.
Uniforms are a good example because we do have a fair number of them, and most of them are not documented at all.
Right.
I've been trying to work through some of them. I know Ernie Taft's father's World War II uniform is in there, and that, but I think somebody bought a jacket and then put Ernie Taft's father's insignia on it. So you know what I mean? That's a debate, I guess, how we want to do that. I mean, I can sew them on there and for the purpose of display and have that be our World War II guy. I don't know, Ernie Speiler or whatever his name is. I think he's clearly our World War I guy. Walter Speiler. Yeah.
Walter Speiler. Right. There's a bunch of
we have a
stuff
great World War I uniform, complete with the doughboy helmet and everything.
Yeah.
And he was from Bellingham, and that's fantastic. But World War II, we have a whole bunch of them, and it's not clear, who's the best example. There's good and bad mixed in there, but we do have a bunch of Ernie Taft's father's stuff. Which,
I mean, in the basement, we do have, I don't think it's a cedar closet. We have a pine closet that we can keep, that we can keep some of the things. And I think some of them are, I mean, some of them are, well, some of them, they're in really good shape. The wool doesn't look really bad on a lot of those military uniforms. They look pretty good to me, most of them. But it's figuring out which ones are relevant, and then getting some kind of decent mannequins to display them on. So they.
Oh,
look
yeah, I meant to bring
Yeah.
that up. That was on my to-do list, getting some, spending some money to get some mannequins and or
Yeah.
dress forms. How do we go about doing that?
We just find, we can buy them with the money we have. I mean, we have a budget. So we can just say we want, that's what we, and I think we do want, we need to spend some money on display things. We just have to. That's just, because even some of the hats that we have there, they're on foam, like wig, wig heads.
And some of them are dilapidated.
They're bad. Yeah. And though I don't think those can be that expensive just to buy. And even if we bought them, I don't know if we could spray paint them or buy a different color than the white, because I think the white just looks like you're just playing a wig. It doesn't look as nice as they could look. So I think we probably can find somewhere, where do people buy museums, those kind of museum supplies, and make a list of what we want, and then we can just pick up what we need, because I mean, I think we have one mannequin for each World War One. Do we have any Civil War? We don't have any Civil War stuff, do we? Or Revolutionary? I mean, nothing that significant. Steve,
No, I wish we did, but no.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah. So World War One, World War Two. I don't know if there's Korea, Vietnam. Probably
Didn't
4 or
see
5.
Korea. We do have Trudeau's Vietnam coat,
Okay.
Yeah.
which it says Trudeau on there, and I'm assuming, but I could be
Yeah.
wrong, that it was it's
And-
not properly documented that it was Trudeau that used to be the principal.
Yeah.
I think it's Andy Trudeau that was he was a teacher at the high school or whatever. He was really high up in the military.
Is it Linda Trudeau's family? Is it that Trudeau?
No, Gills. It's Gills.
Gil.
family.
Gil.
Oh, it's Gil's family.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay. It's
So
Gil's
this
family.
guy was
Okay.
airborne enlisted,
Okay.
Yeah,
or at least the coat is.
yeah.
Gil-
It's
Gil was a
airborne.
helicopter pilot.
Yeah,
Gil was a
and
helicopter.
Gil was a helicopter pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is
Yeah.
not a helicopter pilot's coat.
No, so that wasn't Gil's. So that Andy Trudeau was the one that I believe he went to the rank of general, but I don't know if he was brigadier general or what. But I remember Andy Trudeau did hit the rank of general. I don't know when
I
though.
mean, and even this, like the spreadsheet with the inventory is, we found some things that were listed twice and had different information in who the donors were, so trying to figure out what those, the inventory number was there twice, and there's different donors and different information. So I didn't delete any of those because I want to have as much information, even if it's conflicting, because you delete the wrong one, then you have the, so we gotta figure out, and I think we do the best we can. We can say, conflicting information about the donors. It was either, just put that right out there, then maybe someone can provide us with the right information, because with
Yeah.
history, there's always conflicting information. That's, nothing is, not often are things always documented properly the first time.
Yeah, and
So-
I know we got that file cabinet down there when Bruce Lord was on the historical commission. And I guess he did a tremendous amount of research, so we might find some answers down there
And
too.
there's
Oh,
the
this
two,
is the filing cabinet?
yeah,
Downstairs, yeah,
this,
he's offered to come down and
Yeah.
help as far as, locating different things, because he did an awful lot of research.
there's
when
two
he-
file cabinets upstairs too that have a lot of stuff in them that have to be looked at too. So,
Yeah.
but Bruce does have a good, I mean, he was on the historical commission way back, I believe.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. So I think if we identify certain things and we ask him if he can help us find what about those certain things, that might be a better way to go about it than, these are the things we're looking for some documentation about, and have.
Yeah, he knows his way around what he did anyway, and
Yeah.
where
Right.
and where
I
to
think-
find stuff, because he was around for a while.
And I have a pretty good relationship with Bruce, so I could reach out to him too.
Yeah, I kind of, at the time that he talked to me and he offered to help was the time we were tearing the museum apart to redo the whole inside. So I said, well, now wasn't really, that time wasn't really a good time for it. But now as we go forward, I think we can use his expertise,
Yeah. I think between him and we actually ought to also, when we get things a little more organized, reach out to Margaret Maxwell too, because she might know where things were that you know, that
Yes.
Marcia had put away, that she might know a little bit more about some of these things that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, some
Exactly.
documentation. So, okay, so we're just gonna plow our way through it and get it back
Hey, a
together the
little
best we can.
Little at a
Yep.
time, we'll
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah.
You know, our budget update.
So we have $5,300 still in our municipal budget of the 6,000 we started with. So we do have money, and that money can be used for anything we need to buy. So if we need to buy mannequins or display things or whatever, we can use that for that. And we also have $2,300 in our gift fund. So we've got $7,500 or so available to us to buy whatever we need to do to make some of these things happen. So that's not insignificant. You know, if we're buying, you know, I have no idea what a mannequin costs. Are they hundreds or double 200s? Or I have no idea. So
Mhm.
I don't know.
yeah, but we can look at what those options are.
Mm-hmm.
And then and we have this month we spent 140 or so dollars on the packing boxes, envelopes, and I bought. So we have 2 laptops at the museum. One Karen is upgrading that will be for us to use. It will have a user for me, so I get on the town network, and another user that any of the commission members can use. So I just bought some mice for those laptops because I don't like using a laptop without a mouse. And then there's a second laptop she found that I think it'd be great just to set up on the study table once we're moving. And if a person comes in to do research and wants to get online, there'll be a laptop available for them because it's decent enough just to do web browsing. So she's upgrading both of those to Windows 10 because they still had Windows 7 on them and going to make them available to us. So and once we have those back, I'll connect it to the printer, and then we can start printing signs and whatever we wanted for displays, and we can actually really start getting things a little more organized. So she's working on those now. Within a week of it, she'll have them back to me.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I think we spoke a little bit about the fall winter Crimpville
Yep,
comments.
yeah. I think we, you know,
theme.
we've done 8 pages before. We could bring it back to as little as 6 pages if we don't have the content, because you can just do, because what I did is 2 11x17s that made 8 pages.
Mhm.
And then if you don't have 8, you can make 6, just put a single sheet in between the two. You know, have an 11x17 with a single 8.5 and 11 in the middle, and it could just be 6 pages. So we'll see. Last time I thought it was gonna be 6, and then we just kept getting stuff, and it ended up I could fill all 8 pages. So we'll see what we get. And I'm going to look for that one that I left it on the desk. It had a picture of this 1921 winter storm, which is great. So I think if we do the 21 storm, the blizzard of 78, I don't know if there's something on the 1997 storm, but you know, Bellingham and Winters Past or something, and then throw in the Santa sleigh thing. That could be.
I'll reach out about that to
Yeah.
Georgia. Okay.
Okay.
I had some, I've written a little bit about, I don't know how many words we're looking for, but I wrote a little bit about basically winter/Christmas 1840s, you know, so not celebrating Christmas, you know.
Mm.
You know, the Baptist ministers were preaching against that whole practice, and so I
that's actually that'd be kind of a good like not celebrating Christmas, and then we did it after that anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't figured out what it means, but they called it the Scarlet Lady. It was a common sermon, I guess, that was preached in the period against popish things like celebrating Christmas. So, but I found that all in the context of Bellingham. That was
good.
That was all in John Alvey's book. So, and he was talking specifically about sermons that were preached in Bellingham.
Wow.
Oh, cool. That's great. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you can throw, and then we could, I don't know, is there like a picture or a drawing of John Albee we could throw in with it just to give it some context or something?
There is actually. I am aware of a photograph of John Albee from I think it was the 1880s.
Yeah, that's good. That would be great if you get that. And you know, space wise, we have more space. What I usually do is I expand the donation part. I just make it fit. I'm pretty good at making a newsletter fit.
Make the photos bigger or something.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So just write whatever you think, and submit whatever you think the content needs to be, Steve, and I'll take it from there.
Okay.
Great.
Sounds good. Reopening of the museum. We know we're gonna push it off I mean, I don't think we should, you know.
Yeah.
Bang
Yeah.
ourselves,
Don't
stress
make any
ourselves out for a certain date, you know.
Yeah, I don't think we
When
make
things
any
come
promises.
together, Yeah, when they come together, they'll come together.
Yeah.
You know, and we'll be able to, you know, open it.
I think my deadline is Memorial Day next year, though.
Yeah.
That's my deadline by the.
Yes, yeah.
I'll personally hire movers to move the junk out of there if I'm not done by then.
You know, not necessarily at this opening, because I don't know what the date was. I can find it out, but there was the door and Millerite war thing with that was kind of tied in with the Whiskey Rebellion. But you know, troops from Rhode Island marched into Bellingham and they were attacking all the taverns and taking all the booze. And
Wasn't that was the door? Wasn't that the door
yeah, the door
revolution?
war and the Millerites.
Yeah.
And that happened in Bellingham. And I have a first person description of Bellingham's militia being called out and meeting them, you know, in Bellingham, probably not far from where the town hall is now, I would bet. But when they got there, they said, you know, Bellingham's teetotaling, so there's nothing here for you. And they left. But that might be an interesting sort of reenactment, like you know, just an event, you know, to engage people and, you know, have, you know, a costumed person out by the road where you can see them or something, just to get people to come in. Because I did an event in Medfield, and people just kept pulling over on 109 to see what was going on. You know, they were just driving by and they're like, oh, what's going on here?
So I think we wait till the construction is done in the center of town, then people can see us. Because we should have better frontage once that's done too. Well, that won't happen till the Domino's building comes down, but yeah, no, that's a grand opening would be nice to have some kind of an event. That would be it would be a nice to do something. Maybe Patriots Day would be an earlier deadline. What was Bellingham doing in 1770, in like April of 1775, was that, or whatever? I don't know, what were we up to?
It's an interesting question. I don't know. The earliest, you know, records that I have that I've seen are muster rolls from guys that had signed up from Bellingham to join the Continental Army. But I don't know if we sent militia. You know, Rentham did. I know Rentham sent militia on April 19th.
Okay.
I don't know if Bellingham did. I haven't found any record of that.
Well,
I did look.
Yeah, well, I mean, we weren't really our own town then. We were, that's right. That was pre. Oh no, we were 1719. We were.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we were. Okay, so that's just trying to think of how to do a grand opening event would be a good thing to have in our back pocket, ready to go when we're ready to get there.
No, that sounds good.
I'm very nerdy about programs. You know, I do them for other places. I did one for the town of Leicester this fall. We did a cider pressing, and we had a ton of people come by. We had the kids help us pound out the apples and everything. So, you know, I'm sure people were pressing apples in Bellingham because there were a ton of orchards. St. Brendan's, where that was all a giant apple orchard.
That sounds more like a fall event than a spring event, though.
Sure. Yeah. But I mean, they're just
yeah.
While we're still on the things, I want to bring up about Bernadette and I talked about having Ronnie Paulus build a stand for that mile marker rather than leaving it laying on the floor.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to contact him this week and bring him down there and say, okay, Ronnie, what can you build to stand this marker up, you know, so that we could move it around, put it on wheels if we, you know, like they did with, you know, some of the other stuff. So
like, because if he tilted it on a piece of wood and then like enclosed it in a frame, you know, then it would be enclosed, you know what I mean? I don't know what the best way to, because he's a carpenter, so it's going to be wood.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. He'll come up with something.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
right. Because
I wonder if he could completely enclose it and just flush the face of it. You know what I mean? So that just the face is showing.
Yeah.
And That way you get, you know, the bottom piece that was sank into the ground
Right,
kind of looks messy. Like, I mean, it is what it is. We're not going to cut it off.
right.
But
Yeah.
that was all encased and cut off so that
Yeah.
only the writing is really
It's-
what's
it's-
sticking out
yeah,
of there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cool, you know what I mean? It could fit in better too, as opposed to, you know, it kind of takes up an odd bit of space
Yeah.
because of its unusual shape.
right.
But if it was, like you said, standing up,
Yeah.
but it was just the face that was showing, you could stick it anywhere.
You know, we do have, and I don't know if this is there would, you've seen them, Steve, I think, in Rick, those ballot boxes that were donated to us. We have 2 of them. They're old fashioned wooden ballot boxes. I wonder if somehow, I mean, I don't know if it'd be weird to repurpose one of those, but you're at least using some wood that has Bellingham history to, you know, do we need 2 old ballot boxes is my question. Having one is cool, so people know how an old ballot box used to work, but could the wood, they look like they're oak, they look like old oak.
Hmm.
Do you think destroying one is a bad idea, or to make something else
I
out of
kind of
it?
do.
You know, okay, I was kind of up in the air. Is it better to just use some new wood or try to repurpose something that we have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
would
Maybe
you,
they can use that house beam.
yeah. Would you, when he builds this thing, like you were talking, Steve, to, you know, encase it, you know, cut off the bottom as far as, you know, not having it
Visible.
would you recommend putting you know, like a sheet of plexiglass in front of it, or just leaving it open? In other words, having it like framed in.
I would probably think that it would be open.
Open?
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody wanted to touch it, I don't, it's not Plymouth Rock.
Yeah.
No. No. Yeah, and it's not gonna go
And if
anywhere.
it's indoors in the museum too, it's not like, you know, people are gonna
Yeah.
be in there with a pick, you know, taking
Right, yeah.
souvenirs off it. You know what I mean? Like, I think
Yeah.
if people are touching it, it'd be okay. And myself personally, I'm tactile. I like to touch stuff.
And
Yeah.
I think in a museum, have some things that are touchable is a nice thing, that people
Mhm.
can, you know, having everything hands off is, you know, people do like
Yeah.
to touch, yeah.
And actually, with all that space on the bottom too, maybe we could show like a contrasted image of it too. Like, it's a little bit hard to read.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
if maybe we could, you know, as part of that case, you know, on the bottom, or I don't know, wherever it fits, have something that's high contrast.
Right.
That'll show
Like
what
take
it says.
You mean take a picture of it and Photoshop in what the word,
Yeah.
the things that, yeah. So it's
Instead of
really
painting
readable.
it.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do like a gravestone rubbing of it
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
That'd work.
Actually, that
Well,
could,
that's actually a donation thing somebody had asked about. They wanted to give us rubbings that they had from the 60s or 70s they did.
Up
I
in
thought
the,
that might be interesting because maybe those graves aren't readable anymore. There's a lot of them that I can't read them.
yeah, that was
yeah,
a big thing.
a rubbing of it would be cool, because then if you even just framed a rubbing to place next to it, or you know, near
Mhm.
it, wherever we end up living, have a picture of the rubbing of it that's more readable with it framed. That's a great idea, because
Mm,
it is still hard to read.
yeah,
I've been trying to figure out where the heck it was.
Oh, where it was actually located, yeah.
Yeah.
And well, it's one of those 2 properties, right?
No, I
It's either-
don't think
no?
so.
You don't think it was either St.
No, I
Brendan's
think
or-
it was closer to the green store. I think it was closer to Mendon because the mileage is way off.
Oh,
is it? Yeah,
And the rest of the markers are pretty close to where they ought to be. Like, there's a whole string of them, and there's records in Boston of where they all are.
how many miles did
And,
it say it was?
Oh,
I don't see it.
yeah,
Says
yeah.
is it like 109? Is that how you'd go down? You'd measure it by going down?
Yeah, 109 is the
Yeah.
Boston Post. Is
Those-
not it's the middle carriage road.
Okay,
And,
yeah. 'cause yeah,
That
'cause-
if you go almost to Mendon, that's probably where it was.
okay.
Because actually, you know, the line where Mendon and Bellingham separate, that the green store was there, and that was like a place of commerce, and they did sermons in the green store, all that, and it would make a lot of sense to have a mile marker there. To have a
So
mile marker,
that's like where the popping cork is, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, to have a mile marker in front of, St. Brendan's at the
Yeah.
time was there was what's his name?
Is there a
Penny,
tavern
whatever his
there?
name's tavern was
There's
there.
a tavern, right? yeah.
Which a mile marker might make sense there, but then there was like an orchard. I don't know. And the mileage is so far off. It's like 3 miles off, and it
Mm.
wasn't like in the 18th century, they couldn't measure a mile,
Mm, Yeah, oh, that's good on that.
And it's just as far as you were talking about getting a replica of that, did we ever get a price on the replica?
No,
No, okay, because I mean, we could keep an eye on that. If at the end of our budget year, we have money and that's something we want to do, but it would be nice to know where it really needs to be. if we're
that's
gonna
what
place
I've
it.
been working on, is
If
trying to
it's
figure out
gonna-
where to put it if we
Yeah,
do one.
if we do one, where, you obviously would want it to be where it really was, if that can be identified.
Mhm.
I know, I know it lived for a very long time in front of St. Brendan's. I mean, it
Okay.
was, I don't know how long it was there. I mean, it could, but it was there for a long time.
Yeah,
You know, at least, 40 years to my personal knowledge, because I can
Okay.
remember it when I was little.
Mm. Yeah.
but that spot in Mendon though isn't Bellingham, that's really beyond the Bellingham line now, right?
Yeah, but I was thinking on this side of it. So there's a bridge right there that's been there
Yeah.
for 300 years.
Okay.
Right. So there's the
With the
bridge,
Charles.
and then there's a little
Charles-
strip mall on the right. and
Yeah.
There's the green store on the other side of the road.
Right.
Um, And I don't know, I think the green store might have been in Bellingham. I don't know where the exact line is right now, but
I mean, the
Yeah,
line,
they-
I think, the line is before that plaza, because all those plaza stores that say they're in Hope, is that Hopedale or Mendon?
Oh, Bellingham line ends where Lowell's is, right before Lowell's will say enter
No,
and amend right
No,
there.
that's on 140. We're talking
Yeah.
on Hartford Ave.
Oh,
On
Hartford.
Hartford,
Oh,
on
okay.
Hartford Ave, right? You're talking
Yeah.
Hartford
Yep.
Ave, Steve, right? Yeah, that's, yeah, I
There's
think,
There's a Bellingham on Hartford Ave, right at the Charles River. There's a sign there where you're going into Mendon, an old one that's still there.
Yeah.
So it's right there, like Steve says, I think it's right there, right around where the Charles, and then after you cross over where they
that
have the
would
Charles View
make
Plaza.
sense. It would make sense if you're crossing a river to make that a property,
Yeah.
a town marker.
yeah.
Yeah.
That might have been disputed, because I read some records that say the green store was in Bellingham, but it's clearly in Mendon right now.
Yeah, and parts of Bellingham was in Woonsocket, because I was reading a thing about where Diamond Hill Road and all that section there was part of Bellingham at one time. So, yeah, things have moved around over the years. But do we have anything else on the
Yeah.
old business that we want to bring up? No. All right, I got one thing on the new business that I mentioned that I've been talking. I found out the other day is, the thing we were talking about is, I don't know what we have for authority on historic buildings, but I had to have my wife's iPad fixed, and Johnny Corey was telling me that they're looking into getting a demolition permit for the Eldridge house across the street by Howe Pharmacy. And I know we probably don't have the authority to stop anything like that, but there's a lot of history with that building. So I was thinking of maybe if we could, I don't even know if we have any stationery, if we can compose some type of letter to the Corey family asking that we be able to go in and document and take pictures of the house, because it said it needs a tremendous amount of work inside and outside and everything. So they're going to take it down, but I just don't want to see it go by way of the Curly, what happened on Hartford Avenue. We should at least be able to document,
But-
have a little photo thing of it or something.
So Rick, do you know, is anyone living there at all now? Because there's occasionally cars in the driveway, so I don't know if they're
Yeah.
renting it or I
It
don't
might-
know.
There might be somebody living there, but
Yeah.
they might be already being told to
Yeah.
find someplace else or whatever, because he told me what they plan on doing is taking that out, taking the house down, and Town Pizza would probably be going. That's all, this is all in what they're thinking. And then take the land slopes as it coming down South Main Street into the center. They want to flatten it out, so they'd have to bring the thing down and probably have to build a wall or something, and then maybe extend that plaza. But then they're really not sure what they're gonna do, but I know the house is not something they're gonna save. They want to save, so I just don't want us to miss the opportunity to go and document that house, at least a pictorial documentation of it.
I mean, that building was the first town library, 1894. The first library was in Sarah Rockwood's living room, I guess. So, I mean, it does, and it's, and so when actually after Rick told me that, I went on to the Macris, and it was that one that we identified, 1840. So it was built in 1840, Greek Revival. And it does say it's like a classic example, one of several Greek Revival houses in town, excellent example, 2.5 stories with a rectangular footprint. So it is in our Macris of historically significant properties. It says does not appear on the Newell map of 1830. The first appearance occurs in the map of 1850. The building remains unlabeled until the 1888 map by Robinson. According to the local historian, this building housed a library in 1894. The library was established by Sarah Tufts Rockwood. So that's, I mean, it is, and that's more than once, that's the history. It is the original, and there were other homes that had like libraries in them, but it is the original. So there's maps, there is references to it in our, the things that have already been identified to the town.
I just wanted to ask 2 questions. One's related to this. You mentioned the maps. Can we use some of the funds to buy some high resolution maps? Because on several occasions, at least once in between our meetings, someone contacts me and asks me to research something. Franco had referred somebody to me, and I had a heck of a time trying to decipher, I was just using free access to online maps of Bellingham.
Yep.
And I had a heck of a time trying to locate some stuff. I couldn't really read it that well.
So do you know where to get these?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, they have high resolution digital scans, but they charge you for them, several $100s, each. But
Okay.
I'd like to get there's an 1838 map, there's an 1851, there's one of Caryville. There's a bunch of them out there.
I think it's worth getting. If you want to get them, send me the link. I'll put it on my credit card and I'll do the reimbursement part because I have that pretty much better set up with the town. Because last time I think it was a nightmare for you to get your money back. So maybe I don't know if you want to look at what they bring a proposal to the next meeting, what they'll cost, and then we can approve it. Does that sound like a better idea? If it's hundreds of dollars, it might make more sense for us all to have.
Sure.
I mean, so,
Yeah, I'll try to put together a list of the maps
Yeah.
we need and what their costs are.
Yeah. I mean, I'll need that anyway. So getting those together, we can, and I think we're probably going to be meeting. No, so November, it'll be a month. I mean, there's no hurry on getting them. We can wait a month to get them, correct?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I think that makes sense. If you put together, work on getting them together, bring them to the next meeting and we'll vote on them. And then I can order them online. And so it's digital. So it's just digital access.
I'm hoping to get them digital. The offer is that
Yeah.
that I've seen on, it's like oldmaps.com or something
Okay.
like that, is that, they must have high resolution scans. And maybe if I tell them I'm from a historical commission, they'll, they want to sell you paper ones, but.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It'd be kind of, well, it depends if they're huge. The DPW has like a scanner for building plans, a large print scanner. So if you do get if it's a large one, I could have them scan it and we could still have a digital copy. I don't know what the
Okay.
quality. I don't know what the quality of those. I'm not sure. Well, they're for blueprints, so they must do pretty good quality scanning.
Yeah.
So if we have something big, I could get it scanned so we have a digital copy, because then you could zone in on certain neighborhoods or whatever you want to do to see what's, yeah.
I know I was looking through some stuff in South Bellingham and I was like, there was a house there. I can't read the name.
Yeah,
You know,
right. Mhm.
somebody was asking about their property and they gave me rough, where it was relative to the river and stuff. And I found it. I found the house and everything, but I'm like, I can't read the name off it.
I mean, that would be great because we could just have those digital copies in the OneDrive, and then anyone would have access to them that is at the museum with helping somebody.
Yeah.
And then you'd have
Well,
access to them wherever you are too. Right.
Yeah, some way down the road thought I had was to have some sort of a presentation that was just rotating, when people walk in the museum.
Yeah.
And it's, maybe showing a progression, using maps.
Yeah. Mhm.
The town growing over time.
So yeah, put that together for next meeting and we'll talk about it. But yeah, as far as we will get notified if they do apply for a demolition permit, because the building's more than 50 years old. So, but I don't know if we want to be proactive and reach out, since I mean, he talked to you, so.
Yeah,
we
he
could
mentioned it to me. I told him, I said, well, I know, we don't, we're not set up to halt anything as
Yeah.
far as that, but at least maybe if we could have the courtesy of, going in there ahead of time and having and document the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be happy to do it, to go in and photograph it. I did for the Curly House. I mean, I'm no professional at this, and I didn't have a whole lot of time either,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this, you might have more time, because it's not, it might be good. If Rick, if you want to get together with me, I can help draft the letter. I think it should be
Okay.
signed by you, because you're the chair and you're the one that had the
Yeah.
conversation with them, so that makes more sense, I think.
All right.
Have
we
we
can
approved
work on
that
it.
donation letter, by the way? Can I use that? Because I have like 4 or 5
That's-
people that I told them.
Well, so tonight we're gonna vote on it as a draft. Technically, we're not supposed to use it until we read it at 2 meetings, but I won't put it up online, but if you want to just email it to people, that would be fine. Because I technically, to have a policy, if this is it is a new policy, what we're accepting for donations, you're supposed to read it at 1 meeting and approve it at the next meeting, is the procedure for public. So people have a chance to, so it'll be on our agenda next time too, and people have a chance to come and comment if they want. That's the purpose of,
Mhm.
that's the purpose of those things being on a meeting agenda. So just for transparency. I wouldn't have a problem with you sending it out if you wanted to. But I was gonna get up on the website after our next meeting. So then it's available, then you can just refer people to it from there. So if you want to wait a month, or you want to just tell those people that it will have the policy ready in a month, you could do that too.
Yep, and I was actually thinking at least one person that I spoke to, it might be, I might end up making a trip over there and filling it out with them, because they
Okay.
were pretty elderly. I don't
Yeah.
think they were gonna email me anything.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what I was gonna do is just put it up there as a Word document. That way people can type, if they want to just type in, they can type in and fill in the details right there, That way it's, they're gonna fill it in and print it and send it to us. They can't, whatever they do, they're not gonna alter the original. The original just sitting up there for the next person to download. So just putting up as a Word document is what I was planning on doing. But I think most of you look through this, right? So I think what we need is a motion to approve the material donation application form and policy as presented.
Has everybody
Go ahead.
checked it out? Yeah.
I did, so I'll raise a motion to use that form as published.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Motion's made. And seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay.
All those opposed? Ayes have it.
So we'll have that on the next meeting as a final adoption. This is like they're adopting that we're okay with it, and then it gives one more chance for people to give input on it.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
okay.
Under anything else under new business or anything else that anybody, we gotta pick a date before for the next
Yeah.
meeting.
I think I might have had that wrong, because I put November 15th. It's the second month. Must just be the second Monday, right?
It's gotta be November 8th.
Yeah, November 8th. I think I put the wrong date on the agenda. It's supposed to be the second Monday.
November 8th.
8th.
It's at 5 o'clock, right?
Yep.
Now, question is, do we wanna continue meeting this way, or do we wanna meet at the museum on November 8th?
And we can do hybrid. We can do some people at the museum and some people online. I can bring the library's hybrid, thing over. So some of us can be over there and others can be at home. So I don't think it really matters at this point, which way we, I think the biggest thing, we have to clean off a desk space so we can actually sit down and have a meeting.
I was gonna say that. I said, yeah,
That was-
we have to make our meeting table
Right.
available.
Well, right now it's covered in boxes. They're pretty light and easy to move. That wouldn't be that big a deal, but.
Just let me know in advance. I was driving over there
Yeah,
tonight.
I know.
And I said, I better email before I get all the way there. And
Yeah.
so I left my office, I sent the email, and then fortunately, you responded, and you caused me to detour.
Yeah. So.
So, I mean, I don't know if you guys, feel this is more convenient. I know I'm in a men's group at my church, and they think it's fantastic and they want to continue meeting this way because they can be on the Cape, they
Yeah,
can
that's
be,
right, yeah.
you know, in Maine, they could be anywhere.
So long-term, what the state is thinking of doing, and I think they've approved this through at least the end of the year, you can do virtual meetings. But what I've heard long-term is that they're gonna make it that you can have a virtual meeting as long as a quorum is present in person. So some people can still participate virtually, but you need, so if we have 6 of us, we need 4 of us to be in person, then 2 people could call in. That's what I think that's what they're looking at doing, because basically this whole virtual public meeting stuff is all COVID, kind of grandfathered in. And they realize there is a benefit to it, obviously. So that what I've heard is, and it's not finalized yet, is that they're going to approve it, that boards and committees can continue to meet with a, as long as you have a quorum in person, other members can participate and vote as a virtual component. So it's like a hybrid meeting. So that's kind of what we're looking at down the road. That's one of the reasons the library bought the thing to do the hybrid meetings, because and we use them for book clubs. Our book clubs, some people are coming in person, some people want to just get online and do it, and it really makes it convenient for whatever people need, so
we, I don't know.
mean, why don't we just check in like the week before and see what the condition of the museum is, and we can decide if we're going to do it, if we'll be there in
Alright.
person. Okay.
But we got November 8th at
Yeah.
5 PM.
Yeah.
And
It's only 3
we'll,
weeks away. Great.
we'll check the week before as far as where.
Yeah. Which is 2 weeks away because we're a week later this month. So
2 weeks away. It may be a
Yeah.
short meeting.
Yeah.
Because I can't see us having a whole bunch to talk about in 2
Yeah.
weeks, but
3 weeks. It's 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So anything else on the new business? Anybody? Nope.
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
Well, then if somebody wants to entertain a motion to adjourn, we can,
We'll raise a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
A second.
Pam, I think you just seconded, so we have the Steve and Pam show tonight.
motion is made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
See,
Thank
See
you,
you soon.
everybody. Thank you for everybody for showing up tonight.
take
All right.
care. Have a
All
good
right,
night.
Good
have a
night.
good one.